Hello everyone and welcome to the EGFH Season 1 Week 2 of Overwatch. Today we're starting off with a match between the Ledyard Cyber Colonels and the Three Rivers Middle School College Wolfpack, followed up by a match between the Shelton Gale Goons and the Kanatech Panthers. I of course want to thank our sponsors, the Yukon Gaming Club and the Yukon School of Engineering, for making this season possible. My name is Kevin Navik Dignan and I'm joined by David Haunts Chen. How are you doing today, Haunts?
Pretty good. And these maps these teams will be playing they're going to be starting on Temple of Anubis, then they're going to be going to Ilios. If they're going to play the third map, which is the best of three, obviously, they're going to be playing on Walsh Point, Gibraltar, and if there is a tiebreaker that is needed, they're going to be going to Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, we have some different maps now, and I'm looking forward to it. What do you think, Haunts, about Temple of Anubis for the first map?
I really like Temple of Anubis. It's a really just generic two-point assault map, but there's a lot of ways that you can take advantage of it. You know, we have a lot of ledges on the second point where you can play stuff like Hanzo or Widowmaker. There's a lot of open air, so a lot of players can play Pharah and stuff like that. I definitely want to see the champion diversity on this map.
Yeah, that definitely makes a lot of sense. And of course, on the blue team, we have the Cyber Colonels.
Yeah, and on the red team we have the Three Rivers Middle College Wolfpack. And as they go into this first match, it looks like they're picking pretty standard comps. You know, you have that Reinhardt shielding that for the front door, and stuff like that. What else do you want to see? Because we don't really see many heroes like this Ana, for example, in this first map.
I think I want to see a Widowmaker coming out from the side of the Wolfpack here, getting onto that high ground, you know, maybe picking it in preparation for to counter a Widow on the side of the Cyber Colonels. But we do see Saka on that Luigi. Oh, sorry, we do see Saka Luigi on that Genji. And he's rather prominent with that hero.
30 seconds.
Yeah, I definitely do agree. But yeah, looks like we had to go to a quick pause. But on this red side, like we said, we have the Three Rivers Middle College Wolfpack. We have Spork, Red Soldier, Waifu, the Froyo Bro, Evan, and we just had a crash. But it looks like that player should be Evan. Evan, yes, I should know. Nightington, that was the last player. I apologize.
Sub for the Wolfpack, as one of their members was having some technical issues and wasn't available to get into the game. And of course, as we were saying, as we were naming each player on the team, on the side of the Cyber Colonels, we have Saka Luigi, Captain Jones, Shadow Dragon, Orbion, Obigai, and Deroy.
Yep, and looks like Nightington's just going to be able to load back into the game right now. But while we look over these hero picks, anything that stands out to you, Navik?
Well, yes, you said about the Ana. We could see Ana is such a pivotal character in these situations, especially in these choke points. We could see the bio grenade coming out and stopping the healing coming out, especially from that Lucio, could be fundamental to actually holding this point.
Yeah, I definitely do agree, and I really like this Orisa pick for this top high ground. That's generally pretty standard. You know, being able to drop that shield and be able to free fire from that high ground, and being able to control that entire choke just from that high ground, and forcing the team to kind of go across and maybe go to the left or right as they push into this point.
Yeah, and we're going to get started now into that match now that we've got Nightington back into the game, playing the Winston. So we're going to see probably a dive coming out from the Winston to try and shield all of the damage and the bullets coming from Shadow Dragon and everything, and that constant harassment, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I like the Winston pick. It allows them to kind of dive the immobile Orisa and the Roadhog that they kind of have there. But while we're talking about this Cyber Colonels team, I really like this positioning from the Ana coming in on this top back ledge, away from a lot of the damage and stuff that could happen. And it looks like Evans. Oh, never mind. He says he does not need a pause. But Winston going really hard and being able to disrupt this team really well, and they're going to keep fighting here.
Yeah, actually, on the side of the Wolfpack right now, they managed to get a few picks there. Evan finding Orbeon with that Reaper, and they're just going to push this point. Orissa's going to look to try and set up with Ana healing her in behind, and of course, the Genji Blade comes out from Sakaluigi, but he's going to be able to find a waifu there, and he's going to be able to keep up. He's not getting picked. Froyo dropping to him as well. Red Soldier was looking to deal with him, but he finds a third, and he manages to clear up that point practically by himself there, saving that defense. But the res coming out from Spork does manage to get Froyo back up, but he quickly falls under the pressure from the Roadhog and Orbeon's Reaper.
Yeah, a great defense from the Cyber Colonels. Being able to kind of, even with that Dragon Blade taking down 3 of their players, they're able to kind of hold this back point and reestablish this high ground.
Yeah, and the Genji Blade, the Dragon Blade came out very quickly, actually, on the side of Sakaluigi, and it was exactly what his team needed to deal with those points.
Yeah, but now we have 4 ultimates here on the side of the Wolfpack, and they're probably going to be able to push in really hard with that.
Yeah, but we also see a few ultimates coming out on the side of the Cyber Colonels with the Ana being able to nano boost somebody, and of course that full hog to keep people pushed away. If they get over aggressive, they're going to be regretting it very quickly. Shadow Dragon now having his supercharger.
Yeah, and Zen picking up his ultimate here is going to be really nice for them, because now they're going to be able to hold this point and probably possibly counteract a lot of these ultimates coming out of the Wolfpack. Reinhardt going down just now means that they're probably going to have to regroup, because that's one of their only like major shields.
Yeah, that does definitely mean they're going to need to regroup, but they might choose to do something else as Nightington and Evan push forward, trying to find that pick on Orbeon. They probably know by this point that he does have the Death Blossom, and they're going to be, both teams here are going to be looking for positionings to get their ults off as much as they can. The ult being popped by pretty much everyone there. Red Soldier popping the Visor, we saw the Valkyrie coming out from Spork, the Zenyatta popping his Tranquility, here comes a Dragon Blade from Evan. We have all of the ults in the game coming out. And that was so much happening there, but if we actually look at the aftermath here, the Wolfpack did manage to come out on top, although they did in fact use 2 more ultimates than the Cyber Colonels, so that might have actually cost them there, deciding not to use the Nano Boost or the Death Blossom.
Yeah, and both Mercy's popping their ult there. Having Mercy pop their ult there and her ult there and being able to sustain that entire team as they did that push means that they're able to kind of consistently get it to this point, you know. Captain Jones was able to stall out a little bit with that Transcendence, but right after the Transcendence was down, they're able to time that and be able to deal the damage necessary to...
Well, you actually saw Froyo pin Captain Jones as he popped the Transcendence and pulled him away from the entirety of his team, which negated most of that. And Sakaluigi finding 2 picks there with the Dragon Blade. Red Soldier, of course, clearing him off for the rest of his team.
Yeah.
And they're playing very aggressively.
Definitely would agree. They're playing pretty aggressively, but now with this Orisa pull means that Reinhardt's going to be able to go down. And alright, so it looks like we're probably going to a quick pause because Evan is having some pretty bad ping issues. But outside of that, I think even with those ping issues, Evan's performing pretty well. You know, we saw him pull out that Dragon Blade on that first attack that they did on the first point. And hopefully resolving these issues will help him out a lot more.
Yeah, once these issues are resolved, we'll get right back into this game. And what do you think so far, Haunts? What are you seeing?
I definitely like the pick of Mercy here. You know, there isn't usually much like hard sustain, and because of the fact that Mercy has been buffed and nerfed in all of her recent changes, we don't really. She's usually just like. She floats around with the support pool because I think all of the supports are played very frequently. In fact, we have 4 completely different supports this entire game. So I believe that Mercy offers a lot because you have this Reinhardt, you have this Winston on the side of the Wolfpack, and they both really need that sustain. And that means Lucio can kind of focus on speed boosting and everything.
Yeah, that would definitely make sense. I do think I'd like to see a Moira in exchange for maybe the Lucio. Just that little bit of extra damage, but more importantly, the slow coming out from the Moira Orb to help Evan with those Dragon Blades. It lets him catch people out much more efficiently. And of course, just the overall healing in these kind of tighter fights. She's going to be able to get out a lot more healing than Lucio, even if it's in larger bursts and less sustained amounts.
Yeah, and it looks like we're just about to head back into the game here. And I kind of want to note on this this Reaper pick. You know, we often don't see Reaper in the meta. What do you think about it?
I think Reaper's absolutely perfect for the team they're playing against. Of course, 19ton on the Winston, deciding to stay on it, even though the Reaper Orbeon there has been doing plenty of work. Speaking of 19ton, he does jump in right there with Evan popping the Dragon Blade. He managed to find both of the supports from the side of the Cybercolonels. Like, Orbeon popping the Death Blossom and also finding 2, but Red Soldier coming out on the flank there. And I think he managed to find 3 there with the Visor, which is going to be absolutely huge. 19ton bullying him into the corner. I was just talking about that Winston Reaper matchup, and 19ton proved me wrong. He managed to bully Orbeon into that corner there, not letting him out as the rest of his team captured the point.
Yeah, and a great attack, honestly, a great attack and defense from both sides. Both teams able to eliminate the supports in on both sides, and they did pretty well. I honestly want to see how the Cyber Colonels are going to do their attack here now.
Yeah, I'm thoroughly impressed with the ult communication between both teams. They've been waiting, building it up, both teams are clearly paying a lot of attention to their ult economy, which is one of the most, I would say, probably the most fundamental thing in Overwatch as a team game.
Yeah, I would agree, and because of that, it looks like both teams are going to be pulling out the Mercy now at this point, and the Junkrat. You know, why do you think the Junkrat's going to be so vital on this map?
Well, the Junkrat's interesting because it's actually being played. No, I do stand the colors haven't switched. So yes, it is actually being played on defense. Now, we've seen this time and time again. The Junkrat with his bombs is just able to deny so much area. And they were seeing Sakaluigi, of course, on the Genji. And Junkrat can just throw down his little trap and play around it. If the Genji tries to dash into him and gets caught out by that, or in the midst of a team fight and everything's so chaotic, he's not paying attention to where the Junkrat is, you can deal with a Genji fairly effectively.
Yeah, and I like Junkrat on this first point because he kind of helps control that side corridor that leads up to the high ground for the attackers. In fact, he places trap right at that door just to make sure he can try to trap someone as they walk in for that flank. Greetings. But yeah, it looks like the game is just about to start up now, and I like this soldier pick preemptively because in case the Cyber Colonels decide to pull out any sort of a Pharah, it'll be very helpful for them to have the soldier in the back line.
Yeah, and Orbeon has also taken the Junkrat on attack, so there's going to be positioning is kind of the name of the game for this current fight between the two comps, I'd say.
Yeah, and Junkrat on this defending side playing it very safe, you know, on this back roof. I honestly kind of would rather see him on this high ground so he's able to help control that side room, like I said earlier.
Yeah, and Sakaluigi jumping in there, trying to get a little bit of damage off. He is a quarter of the way there on the 26% towards his Dragon Blade, and that's what this team's going to be looking to do. They're going to be looking to build up the Dragon Blade, build up the Riptire, and just get those big plays because both Junkrat and Genji are so pivotal when they have their ultimates, I would say. And that was a big ult coming out from Nightington, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough here as the Cyber Colonel still managed to push in. Orbeon getting behind the Reinhardt shield as Freo falls to Shadow Dragon. 2 picks coming out from the Cyber Colonels there. That's looking very clean for them, very good. Spork and Nightington falling, and again, an interesting ult coming out from Deroy there. I don't know if that was an accident.
Yeah,
I hope so.
I definitely hope it was an accident, like you said. But it looks like the Wolfpack is just going to try to delay that point a little bit with the Junkrat. He may be switching off. But I definitely disagree a little bit with some of that defense coming out of the Wolfpack. I would rather Junkrat not use his concussive mines just to be able to move into that side room. And now it looks like they're just going to be pushing hard on the second point.
Sakaluigi coming out with an ultimate there. He's going to be able to force them all into one corner as Orbeon follows that up with the Riptire, finding 2 of them. The ultimate being popped by Soldier, but it doesn't matter because Sakaluigi's already on top of him, taking him down. Then this has just been ult after ult, finding those picks exactly where they needed to. Red Soldier's going to be trying to hold this point for as long as he can as the rest of his team does arrive back into that point. Freo not being able to find anybody with the charge there, but he is going to try and hunt down the Roy as that Mercy needs to fall if they have any chance of taking this point back.
Yeah, and great. Continue.
I was going to say, Evan's switching over to the Tracer because he knows he needs to be able to get there, and you hear the Riptire coming out from Red Soldier. Depending on who this finds, it's going to be absolutely huge, but it actually falls to Captain Jones. Captain Jones actually getting Nightington out of his mech. Evan falling to that Zenyatta. A big hammer down coming out, and it manages to get hit by Froyo Boy, which actually could hurt his team here as he pushed it back into the point, but it doesn't matter because he shields it. A second ult coming out from Sakaluigi. He had one at the start of this fight, but this fight's been going on for so long, he's managed to find a second one. Evan falls to it, Red Soldier falls to it. D.Va's ult coming out from Nightington, but it goes a little bit too far, and the Winston shield saved them anyway. This is looking fairly clean on the side of the Cyber Colonels here, with Waifu trying to just stay on that Lucio, speeding about, circling around there, but he does fall, but the rest of the team managed to find something. But like I was saying earlier, the Junkrat trap actually catching Froyo out there, and that completely slowed down their push as Red Soldier manages to get plenty of area denial with the Junkrat, finding Obi, finding Orbion. And yeah, that was close.
That was a very, very extended team fight, and now it looks like the Wolfpack is going to be able to hold this second point with barely any ticks left, honestly. But honestly, a great ult economy and ult usage, like you said earlier, coming out of this attacking team. And it was able for them, you know, they were able to rush in, especially with assault points. It's really important for them to, you know, have those extra ult charges. So when they first dive in, your first attack is the most important. You know, you want to steamroll that first point into the second point.
And I'd actually say that that ult usage at when they captured the first point there might have actually cost them the game, as Deroy not having ult there was pretty important because he wasn't able to mass heal the rest of his team as the rest of them pushed in with their ultimates.
Yeah, I would agree, and now it looks like they're just going to continue finding these picks with Evan. Evan now is switching off to this Pharah to dominate the skies, because it looks like they noticed that there is a lack of hit scan on the blue side team here.
Yeah, but his scan might not matter, as Saka's been so deadly with this blade. If he's able to get one pick, he'll be able to find the Pharah fairly easily, depending on the positioning of everyone. So again, it's something really important to think about. Evan is going to be trying to build up that ult, though. He did just switch to Pharah at 12%. Luigi jumps out with that Dragon Blade again, managing to find the Riptile from Red Soldier and Red Soldier himself. Spork also falling, leaving both of the tanks on the point as a huge Earth Shatter comes out, finding Sakaluigi. That's going to be down as the rest of the Wolfpack pushes in. Royo's looking for D.Va here, but D.Va jumps up, pressing the ultimate button. He isn't going to be able to find anybody due to free shield there, with Spork flying back in, but falling almost immediately as he got into the point from Orbion. Evan in the air, he does find that ultimate. The Justice coming out, he manages to find one pick on Orbion with it, but it doesn't matter because Waifu manages to fall into the Martyrdom, giving them that support kill, which is oh so important whilst trying to take this point. Orbi Guy there trying to jump in. He is the last person on the side of the Cyber Colonels, but they does fall, and that's going to be another reset.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, good management of ult economy of going into this point, but great defense from the Wolfpack, allowing them to kind of hold that. And even with that usage of the of Waifu's sound barrier early, and that didn't really involve in the team fight, they're still able to hold the second point.
Yeah, they're doing extremely well. Like I was saying, both teams' ult economy here and ult management has been absolutely fantastic.
My ultimate is charging.
Yeah, I definitely think it comes down a lot to Sakaluigi's play. You know, we saw him take down 3 players early on in that fight, but then instantly fall right after his Dragon Blade was done. And because of that, they weren't able to continue having consistent DPS as they went into this second, as they continued to contest that point. Now it looks like Saka's going to switch off to a soldier instead.
Yeah, and again, these fights have been extensive. You know, we were able to see the attacking side rotate in 2 or 3 times before the fight actually ends, which says a lot for both teams and the healers specifically, because people just aren't dying. And the Riptire coming out a little bit far back from Orbion there as he looks for the Mercy or looks for the Fire. He isn't going to be able to find anyone due to the shield coming out from Froyo. Obi Guy pushing in, or sorry, Obi Guy pushing in there and deciding to fall back as he almost got killed by Red Soldier's Junkrat.
Yeah, and a lot of ultimates coming out of the blue side, and even with 6 ultimates up at the beginning of the fight, Wolfpack deciding not to use a single one, feeling like they can just hold the second point without using a single one of their ultimates.
Yeah, and Sakaluigi switching over to the McCree from his Genji to try and deal with Evan's Pharah, like you were saying, because right now Evan's just been dominating through the sky.
60 seconds remaining.
Yeah, and switching from Soldier to McCree, you know, what is the difference that provides? You know, both of them are hit scans, both of them can deal with this Pharah. Why the switch?
Because he was on Genji.
He switched to a soldier between the Genji and the McCree.
He might. Oh, I evidently completely missed that. It might be because of a couple different things, but I'll explain that right after this play-by-play. As the D.Va ult comes out from Knightington, managing to find Luigi and Captain Jones, which is pretty good for them. DeRoy falling to Red Soldier, which means there's not going to be any resurrections as Knightington gets back. We see Shadow Dragon managing to find Knightington as he gets rezzed and tries to get back into the mech, which is pretty good. The ult coming out and completely wasted as Froyo manages to stop that Earth Shadow. And as we were talking about Saka switching from Soldier to McCree, it might be because he wasn't able to find the consistent damage on Soldier that he needed due to the Mercy healing Evan. So with McCree, obviously, you need less shots, and the time to kill a Pharaoh, if you're able to hit those shots, is far shorter. And that's going to be the first point, or the first match going to the Wolfpack.
Yeah, and a great hold on the second point from this Wolfpack, being able to, you know, notice that they didn't have many hit scans early on and switching to that Pharah.
And Froyo getting play of the game. If I was going to be honest, I thought it was going to be one of the DPS. I thought Saka maybe, but Froyo clearly did something here as he got a big three-man shatter here after pinning one of them, and that was actually what let them take the point, I'd say.
Yeah. Froyo definitely putting out a lot of damage blocked even.
Yeah, 35,000. That is very good. He was clearly doing exactly what he needed to, and you saw how aggressive he was playing in those situations where he saw a chance to play aggressive. So fantastic Reinhardt play on the side of Froyo there.
And I think going into the second game, we need to take a look at how the Cyber Kernels are dealing with the DPSs of Wolfpack. You know, they should have switched. I feel like they should have switched off to the Soldier or McCree earlier on as soon as they saw the Pharah, but they waited a few minutes just to do so. And even with Evan on Tracer, they were having a hard time dealing with him too, and that's part of the reason why they were able to take back that point.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. And going into Ilios now, and what do you want to see from Ilios here after watching that first game between these two teams?
Well, I definitely want to see more dive comp coming out of this Cyber Kernel side. You know, even though we mostly saw Ryan and Winston from them, you know, we saw elements of dive comp with Winston, but two of their tanks actually main D.Va. You know, I would rather see this D.Va Winston comp coming out, and it'll be very helpful for them to use that going into Ilios. And, you know, we saw Lucio on both sides at one point. You know, I think Lucio is obviously very important for these control point maps.
Yeah, I think I'd like to see, especially on Well in Ilios, I would like to see Orisa Roadhog on either team for tanks. Obviously, a Lucio with support, as we address every time it comes to a control map. That Lucio is so important. That speed boost might not seem like a lot, but making it so you get there a fifth faster than usual can save you a lot of time over the course of the game.
Yeah, and it helps really give you that extra advantage when you first go in and to contest that. And it looks like, just like you said, we're starting off on Well first. And and like you said, Orisa is also, and Roadhog are both very important for, you know, getting these heroes, dropping them into the Well, and that consistent like forcing the enemies into a specific location, you know. And Lucio, like I said earlier, is going to help out a lot with this Well, with his boops and everything.
Yeah, and we see both teams running Lucio, and like I said, the side of the Cyber Kernels here running that Orisa and Roadhog, because it is so fundamental and so viable with that giant well in the middle. Of course, you have Roadhog throwing out his hooks, taking picks. It doesn't matter if you're a tank. It doesn't matter if you're a damage or a support. If you don't have the mobility to get out of it once he hooks you, you die. And again, Orisa has Halt, which can just pull everyone into the well.
Yeah. That Well definitely a major point of contention since it sits right in the middle of the control point. And it looks like you kind of got your wish. We're seeing a Moira going into this second game.
I'm getting everything I asked for now.
Yeah, definitely. So what do you want to see coming out of this Moira? We obviously know that her coalescence is very good in kind of controlling, since this map is kind of linear. There are a lot of lines.
There are a few things that we could be seeing from the Moira, and I think depending on the communication here, Moira should be, for the most part, staying behind Shadow Dragon's Orisa shield here and throwing out those damage orbs, because what a lot of people forget about Moira's damage orbs is that they slow. And slowed players make it easier for Orisa to hit Hole and Roadhog to hit his hook.
Yeah, and even with this Orisa Roadhog, I kind of want to see this Cyber Kernels team pushing in a little more to take advantage of the well. I don't think they're doing that as much.
Yeah, Evan there contesting the point from Shadow Dragon there with the Wolf Pack here coming in and managing to capture the point immediately off the bat there. Orbeon trying to stop it, but it wasn't fast enough as he needs to quickly make his escape before he gets picked and staggered himself out from the rest of his team.
Ooh, and Nightington actually dropping off the side of the map, which means that the Cyber Kernels have a pretty good advantage if they want to push in right now.
Your support.
Yeah, they do. Actually, Shadow Dragon though jumps in onto Froyo there and immediately gets pushed off by Waifu into the well. Since he had no jump, it doesn't matter. He's just gonna die.
Yeah, now it looks like Wolfpack is going to pay the price for having a Winston that fell off the map, and it looks like they're just gonna fight a really unnumbered fight for them, you know?
And interestingly enough, if we look at the ult different, actually we see a High Noon coming out from Sakura, and he does manage to find Evan with the shot, and then immediately after Waifu grabbing him, the hook being so close to finding Froyo, but he's not being able to find it. The Riptire coming out for Red Soldier, finding Sakura. And as I was going to say, the ult difference between Shadow Dragon, obviously Nightington just used his ultimate, so he is currently in Primal Raid, but Shadow Dragon is only at 50%.
Yeah, it's definitely a difference in terms of like how these two are playing. You know, Shadow Dragon, he wasn't able to deal much deep damage in that first contest of the point. While, you know, we had Nightington, he was able to kind of focus on this Tracer, focus on the Lucio when he first entered the building, where it allowed him to get a lot of ult charge there.
Yeah, and right now you can see, especially on the side of the Cyber Kernels, they're playing around that point. Like I was saying, they're using the Roadhog. Like Evan got hooked by the Roadhog a few times now. I think he's died twice in the well, and that's going to let the Cyber Kernels get that point back because again, they're just playing around the environment kills, and I feel like this is one of those maps where it really does matter.
Yeah, I would agree. And with Evan now dead, I kind of want to see him on a Pharah. You know, we were saying earlier that well, I think that this map has a lot of open air that they can take advantage of, and especially since they're already running a Mercy, the Pharah Mercy can't really help them.
Yeah, and we see Orbeon there dropping the Pulse Bomb onto Waifu as he dropped the beat, but the Pulse Bomb blew up before he was able to get it off, so that means that Waifu's ult was used in vain, not being able to support his team at all. The Froyo finding the Shadow Dragon kill here with Deroy finding Nightington, which means that the Zarya is not going to be able to find any much more ult before Spork reses them. 30 seconds on the Mercy res timer. If they're able to hold it, it's 76%. Then they will be even by the time the res is back up. Spork, of course, having the Valkyrie, but we also see Deroy with Coalescence. We see Luigi, who's presumably holding his High Noon. When he hears that Valkyrie, he'll pop it to try and deal with her as fast as he can.
Yeah, and I like the use of Coalescence there, being able to kind of shoot straight down the alley. But it looks like Red Soldier's going to be pop his ult and pick off. Actually, both Lucio's going to get picked off here.
Yeah, that was a nice ult by Red Soldier. He got that high ground there, hoping nobody would see him before popping the Riptide and managing to find one of the supports. And Froyo is the last man left on the point for the side of the Wolf Pack as they try and get it with Nightington pushing in. But this is what I mean, he gets hooked. He isn't able to fall into the well, but he is going to be caught out quite badly as Deroy and Orbeon are pushed up, just trying to deal some damage, harass them out with those ultimates. We hear the death blossom coming out by Evan, but it immediately gets caught out by the bubble coming from Shadow Dragon, and that makes it almost impossible for him to find anything other than Captain Jones. The whole hog coming out, the res just being taken by Spork there and bringing Evan back with nobody even contesting it.
Yeah, and it looks like the Wolfpack are going to be able to get this point back on track. But I definitely think that focusing on to Sakaluigi seems like a great strategy for them. You know, Sakaluigi, definitely the playmaker on this red side team. Even in the last fight, he got almost 5 kills there by himself, and being able to build the High Noon instantly. It looks like they're going to be able to force onto this point for this last fight.
Yeah, and there's a Riptide coming out from Red Soldier, trying to find Sakaluigi in time, but I believe the Lucio sound barrier that actually saved him as Sakaluigi manages to find a couple picks with the High Noon. Froyo managing to find Captain Jones, which is absolutely huge because that means no boops, but Sakaluigi's not being dealt with until Evan shoots him in the face and takes him out. And it's a close fight, but at the moment it looks like the Cyber Kernels are managing to find it, and if they can cap it, then of course that's going to make a huge advantage for them, as it's both at 99. Evan finding 2 with that Death Blast in Shadow Dragon, and Deroy falling. It's all up to Obi Guy to try and hold this point, but he's being bullied off of it, and that's going to be the first point going to the Wolf Pack.
Yeah, definitely a great use of the Lucio boops and the concussive mines from the Junkrat there to force Obi guy off the point there at the last second. Um, but like I said, just as Evan dealt with the McCree there, they were able to hold that point. And Sakaluigi is definitely the playmaker on this red side team, and they're gonna have to play around him more, I think.
Yeah, I think they need to. I mean, Orbian's been doing plenty of work as well. I wouldn't sell him short. And Obi guy's found some fantastic hooks, but at the moment Saka's kind of ruling the show. And with that fight, he's scared to go back to the Genji that he was being so oppressive with, because he's terrified of Evan picking that fire and him having to switch again.
Yeah, I would agree. And it looks like they're going to be, both teams going to be speed boost in here onto the second point. But now we're seeing a bit of this Zarya coming out from Nightington, like we saw a little bit earlier. I think grabs are going to be very important going into this next map, being able to control the map as Evan takes down Captain Jones here.
Yeah, and as you were saying about the Zarya there, Zarya bubbled Evan, which made it so that Nightington could find so much percentile as they tried to deal with the Reaper up in Orissa's face. Obviously, they couldn't not deal with him because, well, Orisa would die. But Orisa died anyway to Red Soldier. Again, the Junkrat. The Junkrat spam is so important, being able to deny certain paths, certain areas. If they push it, it's a lot of damage. And Sakaluigi switching onto the Widowmaker, maybe thinking that he needs some distance.
Yeah, and with this Widowmaker, I definitely like Widowmaker in this ruins area. She has a lot of ledges she can, off to the side, right next to her, behind the control point, on this building that Sakaluigi is taking advantage of now. And if they can find 1 or 2 picks here with this Widow, they probably will be able to force this point really hard.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Evan managing to find Orbion, which is actually going to slow down this entire push. Saka's just, everybody just staying behind Froyo's shield, and so Saka's not being able to find anything.
Yeah, and with that entire sightline being denied by that Reinhardt shield, I want to see Orbion and, the other players on this red side team focus this Rein shield more, Since you have this Widowmaker, you need to make these picks, and you need to down these shields.
Yep, and Evans, again, Evan and Red Soldier are pushing up when they need to. Like you see here, Red's just jumping in, using that little landmine so he can get some air, get some bombs a bit further, just deny more path. Because at the end of the day, the Colonels are never going to be able to win this if they can't get onto the point.
Yeah, and it looks like they're having a lot of switches coming out of this the Colonel's team. And that might be good and bad for them, Like, sometimes it's not that advantageous to switch just because you're losing so much ult percentage. But now Widow popping her ultimate, and it looks like they're just going to continue pushing on this point.
Yeah, I think Sakaluigi really does need to switch off of this Widowmaker. With Red Soldier finding 3 picks there, that was absolutely huge with 96%. They're not going to have any time to try and get off of this. Shadow Dragon going in for that Diva Bomb, but he's not going to be able to find anybody. A second Riptire coming out from Orbion here. He's going to need to find somebody, and he does manage to find Red Tire. Sakaluigi finally finding that pick on Sport, but it doesn't matter because Evan was ready with that Death Blossom. He'd been waiting that whole time, and that's going to be the second game going to the Wolfpack, and I believe that's the set.
That is. Great play coming from Wolfpack, after they analyzed the fact that Sakaluigi was the main damage dealer, and being able to kind of try to oppress him and take him out, forcing him onto the Widow.
Yep, and this is going to be the play where we see Red Soldier sneaking behind and finding that lovely triple kill that practically, not to say that there wasn't plenty more going on, but it definitely made it easier for the Wolfpack there to finish and close out that game.
Epic.
Yeah, and I definitely liked the choice of Reaper coming out of Evan in this last game, noticing that, it was helpful for him to deal with Sakaluigi, being able to use the warps and being able to like phase out of the fights if he needed to, but also analyzing that, the tanks are a major part of their composition. They need the tanks to be able to help Sakaluigi deal his damage, and if you can knock out the tanks, that means Saka's going to have a really hard time.
But I think Saka may have let the pressure get to him a little bit there. He only found 1 pick on that entire time he was playing Widow.
Yeah, and definitely the Rhine shield did not help him there. I think if they pick this Widowmaker again, they're going to need more coordination of when to take down these shields, and when to focus when they need to focus.
Yep. But again, those were the last two games, and we're going to be taking a short break here as we get back on to the next set.
Yeah.
And of course, I'd like to thank our sponsors, the Yukon Gaming Club and the Yukon School of Engineering, for making this season possible, because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah, and coming up next, we have the Shelton Gale Goons taking on the Caner Tech Panthers. So we will see you at 4:15, hopefully.